So welcome back to what will be the 5th episode of the Capri Twin Turbo series. So in this episode I'm hoping to get the engine sort of finally reassembled and ready again. So put them back on, get the clutch and work back on, change the rear seal, check out some oil flow, and that would be kind of handy. And yeah, and then hopefully after that I'll get on to getting this brake servo vacuum pump installed, which I've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 videos. So yeah, we'll crack on that minute and I'll see you a bit later on. Alright, I'm just going to interrupt here a minute. Annoyingly, some of the audio didn't record or went all strange. So some of these clips can be voiced over. Sorry it was annoying, but I'll try my best. Alright, so I see plenum back on, and the engine's starting to take a bit of shape now. So what I want to do before I put the engine back in the car is check that the modified oil pump actually is putting out oil. So I don't want to find I've got some primary issues when it's in the car because it's going to be a pain in the ass. So I've got no plugs in the engine still. I'll connect the starter back up and then put some of this fine quality oil in and see what happens. So yeah, so I'll pick it up. Right, so start the motor bolted back up. Now, of course, I don't really want to do a Daniel there and forget to put the oil filter on. So we'll chuck him on a minute. That's a bit. Always lube your filter. You want to go on dry. On there. And make sure it's on tight but not too tight, else it will come off when you're doing a burnout and you'll destroy your engine. Daniel. Right, I'll see what the rest of my thing in it. Chuck some oil down in him. And right. Only the finest from eBay, of course. Only the finest oil from eBay. Nope. Cost-effective oil. It seems to have done me fine so far, unless that's the cause of all the metal filings.
Yeah, I mean, anything to mop up your metal filings, really. Metal file resistant oil.
You watch, all this will end up on the floor in a minute. That's once I poured it in. No, I mean, I come at the bottom of the sump and all the gaskets I just put on.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's not good. What is it?
Right. So what I plan on doing is firing it over and seeing if oil comes out with the turbo line. If it doesn't, I'll have an issue. So the engine's not completely dry. I've still left oil on all the bearings and such, so it shouldn't be any harm turning it over for now. But dipstick. She's got some oil on her, so that. Let's try firing up and see what happens. Let's see if we've got no now. Pretty over it. How on you, prick? Is there any in the filter there? Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Ah, there's oil on the filter. I'll filter that. So, keep going. Keep going, it's almost there.
There you go.
Oil! Yes. I like that.
That's good. We shouldn't have this.
So here's a clip. I have no idea what the audio was, but I'm going to try guess it anyway. So the engine's assembled. It's started like an engine again, which is nice. I've still got the... Well, I'm changing the oil pressure sensor just down here a minute for a pressure transducer, because I've never had a working oil pressure sensor on the engine. Well, I've never had it wired up. It's just that video one wasn't really convenient to work with ECU, so I've got one of them on order, so we'll try that. Annoyingly, and of course, I've already found an oil leak before the engine's even put back into the car and running. It's between the head gasket and the timing cover, so you probably can't see it down in there, but there's a nice pool of oil, which is good job I spotted it now, because I'll be pretty annoyed if I spotted it once it was in the car. But yeah, I'm going to take a look at it and see the best way of fixing it, really. So yeah, I'll have a quick peek at it in a minute, and I'll see you in a minute again.
With the oil leak no longer leaking, I won't go into too much detail as to how it's not currently leaking, but yeah, I'm not going to make much promises on if it won't leak in the future or not, but we'll find out. Bloody thing. Yeah, so short of that, that's the engine assembled for now, until the oil pressure transducer turns up and I can get it wired in. So it's finally time to get the Golf out of the way, get the Capri back on the ramp, and have a look at these brakes. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Excuse the mess. Yeah, we won't go into too much detail about that. Right, so it's finally that time now. So what we have here is a Volkswagen vacuum pump. I believe it's called for a lot of the Mark 5 Golfs and sort of various things of a similar age. So with any luck, I think it's all about 1.4s now. It didn't have masses of vacuum. So with any luck, we'll wire that one in and get some better vacuum assisted brakes, not vacuum assisted brakes. So currently in this mess in here, which once upon a time was actually very, very tidy, but after years of constantly taking engines out and changing them, upgrading them, changing them, it's turned into a bit of a mess. I got this shitty vacuum pipe here, which used to run to the plenum. That's got to go, and we're going to replace it with some copper hard pipe along the front between both the brake servos I've shown back in, I think it was episode 1, hidden under the arches. So yeah, I'll get ready to make a few bits up in a minute and crack on. Here's all the old setup that's been removed. So the crappy vacuum line, a couple one-way valves, and a bunch of Jubilee clips. And it shouldn't be too bad of a route. There's the old puppies that need to be done off it. But up here, I've got on both sides, I've got crappy Lockheed style remote servos, which haven't weathered too well considering they've only been on the road for a very short period of time. But that side, we need to get a vacuum feed back there, and I think the best route would be underneath, sort of in front of the intercooler there, down around the other side, and basically doing the same again, with
probably the vacuum pump mounted up in here, I'm thinking. There's not really much space in the bay for it. In front of the radiator is a bit of a tight area anyway, so I might as well put it under the rest of the braking bits and bobs. So, before I go too balls deep into this, I'd best check that this actual vacuum pump works. Thanks to Google, I found the pinout for it. So, I'll give that one a little go a minute and see what happens. So, 12 volt with there. It's got a built-in relay. It's only meant for about 8 amps, so these jump cables won't last very long. But if we can test the pump, that'd be great. Put this on there. So 12 volt. Ground. This one supposedly has a switch ground signal to activate the pump. So we will see if it works. Right. Oh hell, yeah, it does work. That moves to there. Right, okay. So, a lot of people use remote switches with these. I've been advised that it's not necessary, that it'll work straight off the brake pedal very quickly, so I'm going to see what happens with that. I'm going to give it a go. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to have to get a pressure switch, but if I can save 30 quid and it's not needed, then it's one less thing to go wrong. So, with that tested, out of the way, bit of 10mm copper, pan it lying around to make some lamps, perfect, 10mm T-piece, and a bit of soldering. As an electrician, this isn't my main skill, so I'm sorry if it's crap, but yeah. So I'll do some measurements, get a few bits and bobs lined up, and then I'll be back to see how it goes. Right, so I've soldered it up. It's, yeah, not too shabby, but you know, I'm a sparky, not a plumber. So I've rigged the pump back up and the pressure gauge just to see if it holds pressure. Yeah, and hope it's all good. We'll give it a test on it and see what happens. And yep, it seems to be making the same pressure it was before, so that's a good sign. Perfect. Right, well, I'll get this rigged up in the car then and see what happens. Alright, so copper hard pipes are in position, not tightened up on me yet, but just in position, and sort of clamped up, run through to the other side here, and now up to the servo. So as for mounting the vacuum pump, there's a couple holes up here which are from, I can't remember what I had there before, but something anyway. And what I've decided to do is build a bracket that uses them standard holes there on the pump, saves drilling anymore. Simple Jubilee clip and a bit of old auxiliary belt, quite a common sort of pump mounting system really. So that fits up there where the old one used to go, and it shouldn't be in the way at all. Get that finished up and I'll see you shortly. So that's the vacuum pump mounted up there. The wiring, because I didn't have the proper Volkswagen connector for it, I've crimped terminals on and I've potted them in hot glue, so it would be more than adequate and waterproof there. So it's all mounted solid, all plumbed up at these points. It maybe doesn't look super pretty, but it's functional, it's the main thing. As you can see, I have just powered it up and it does work pretty great. But with the time it took to fill up one servo with vacuum, opposite, draw out there, right, slowly releasing, yeah. But by the time it took to do one, the whole idea of just doing no pressure switch and on the brakes isn't going to work.
So I'm going to have to spend 30 quid on a pressure switch, which is annoying, but that's the proper way of doing it, so I'm going to have to do it that way. But yeah, that's for this video. There's not much more to squeeze in it. So next video, it will be finishing the wiring and installing the pressure switch. I've got back there, you see the shitty paint. I'm going to just tidy it up. I'm not going to do anything good with it, but just want it to be a bit tidier because it's very visible. Sort that out, and then the engine go back in. I want to modify the wiring for the electric fan to bring it on with ECU as well, so I've got a bit of a fail-safe there. Yeah, so a few more bits to do. If you happen to have enjoyed this video, then why not drop a comment, maybe like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers!